Hey YouTube, in this video I'm going to be doing deck profile on my updated Dragonic Overlord deck. So this deck is the one that I've changed the grade 1 lineup probably like so many times in the last couple of weeks, just to try out new things, but I kind of settled on this build for a while at least. So right now my Dragonic Overlord the Great is not in here. I may bring it back, but for now it's focused primarily on the Legion of the crossplay and some other stuff. Doesn't stride too much, but anyway, this is what I have. So for Dragonic Overlord the Cross, he is probably the most popular Kagero deck or build right now, along with the Legion Mate, obviously. So the 3 Dragonic Overlord the N. You can run 4 if you're not going to run the Great. I was almost just going to run 4 plus 9th grade 3. But the 9th grade 3, the other grade 3 that I went with was the Rebirth, because the Rebirth is actually pretty good in late game when the opponent doesn't have all that many other options, because you've kind of already taken them away from them with the crossplay and the end restanding. So the Rebirth is a good way to just kind of go in at the end and swing twice at the Vanguard and just stack triggers on the Rebirth. I mean, he's already going to swing at 21, and he'll swing twice at 21. So, he's a pretty good backup, especially in a deck that's focused on the Overlord. Otherwise, obviously, the most common one that I've seen people use is the Great. And I did have him in here before, but I wanted to use him with partitions, so I took him out. So I found room for my 2, the Rebirth. So rather than just let them sit around and do nothing, I just put them in the deck. And it works just fine. Otherwise, I might bump the N up to 4 and just run 1, the Rebirth. Otherwise, I end up, usually what happens most of the times in games, he'll end up being used up as stride fodder. Or if I have like 2 of this in hand for some reason and I'm sitting on the Legion, I'll like spend 1 for the Ace or something. But that's the grade 3s. For grade 2... For Dragonic Burnout, you can get away with running 3 because sometimes the drop zone won't even be set up to use this guy effectively, so 3 is fine. But 4 is just better overall in the event where you have to ride one of them. So 4 of the Burnout, because he's basically the deck's Berserk Dragon, and he doesn't use any counterblasts. Next, 4 Burning Horn Dragon. Burning Horn Dragon is just here because a lot of times the deck will have trouble in the mirror match keeping a back row, so Burning Horn Dragon is there to consistently be able to hit numbers attacking Vanguards or Rearguards. And then 3 Bellicosity Dragon. He's here just to unflip because all these guys use a lot of counterblast, especially the end. It's counterblast 2 and Persona Blast to restand. So he's in there here kind of just to be annoying. And poke at the enemy Vanguard, and if they let it go, then they take damage, and he unflips the damage, so that's why he's in here. Otherwise, people will run Neo Flame. He's not in here because he's in my Perdition deck. And just some other random stuff, like even Berserk Dragon is probably okay in here as well. So that's the grade 2s. For grade 1s, it's very simple. Actually, I was running that 1 Quintet Wall for a while, and I took it out just because I didn't want to have to use the counterblast. One thing I did notice is that the Quintet Wall does help throw some Overlords in the drop zone for the Burnout move, but you'll end up either striding them away or Legioning later on. And then 2 Calamity Tower Wyvern, just because he is really good in here overall, just to loop the N and the Cross that are already used. Like if you ride Rebirth over them, you can Soul Blast them out, or you can just ride the Cross over them and re-Legion again and just recycle them and just loop with Burning Horn Dragon. So he's really good in here. And then 3 Gojo. This Kagero deck is actually pretty cookie cutter. Like the only thing is I am running only the 2 Calamity Towers if it was OCG. But yeah, it's like everyone's running the 3 Gojo, everyone's running the Calamity Towers. It's actually pretty boring. The only other thing that I'd recommend is like Stride Fodder, but I'm not actually using Stride Fodder in here. Instead, I put in 1 of this guy just to help unflip, but he does go away. He minuses to unflip too, so And the last grade 1 is just 3 of the Limit Break Enabler. This is only in here for the Rebirth. And honestly, it might get replaced for Stride Fodder. Mainly because if you want to do the Ace play, you need a lot of Overlords in hand. So, I don't know. I was running like 2 Stride Fodder earlier, or before, but I took them out for my one of my other decks. So, I may bring them back, but it doesn't matter. I don't know. For right now, the deck's not super focused on Stride. It's still heavily Legion focused. And then late game, it uses the Rebirth. So, that's usually what it does. So that's why Limit Break Enabler. In the event where you have to use the Rebirth early, you can commit to the field and just go all in early and just start attacking them and try to double crit them if they don't block. So that's the grade 1s. For the 0s, it's very standard. With Kagero, I typically just stick to the standard lineup of the 4-8-4. So the 4 draw Gatling Claw. 8 of the critical. These are the ones that he used when Kai was reversed. These are the criticals that he was using. He was actually using the Seal Dragon draw to the Margot clone, but this is just way too good, so I'm just gonna run this. So these, and then Teresa, or Therese, she was the heal trigger during the reverse arc. And then the starter is Lizard Soldier Fargo, mainly because he was meant to be used with the Rebirth, and he also works with the cross and the N when they swing at the rear guard that turn, and the opponent doesn't want to have to block that, especially if they're not running the original perfect guards. So that's why I'm running Fargo. Otherwise, Red Pulse Draco Kid would be okay. I also like the Fargo does not waste Counterblast, so that's another reason why I have him in here. And he works really well with Overlords because they hit Vanguard, they hit rear guards and restand a lot. So actually, yeah, Fargo does work with him. It just, he can't hit a rear guard and restand. So just, it's mainly here for the Legion, the N restand. But I mean, it still works. Like if it hits the Vanguard and he restands, they still get to retire. So it just makes it more of a pressure situation for the opponent to try to have to block the Rebirth twice, or try to block the cross twice, or they're going to lose like 2 cards in their field. Then if they block him, they lose 2 more. So it's just really annoying overall. That's why Overlords right now is actually still pretty good, but they're just not as fast as some other decks. So for Strides, 2 the Ace, because like I said, this deck does not stride all that much. This will usually be the second stride, or sometimes I'll never even see it all game, because most of the time I'd rather end up going into Root Flare, because Root Flare is still really good. He blows up a whole column. He does not cost any counterblast. He's your best second stride most of the time. But the Ace is here just because the deck does have the ability to actually pull off that play, although it is kind of situational. I think the Ace is a little overhyped, to be honest. And then Zom is in here just in the event where you can combo him with Burnout, because Burnout doesn't use any counterblast, so he can just counterblast and retire something else. So he's also a pretty decent first stride. Otherwise, most of the time, the first stride is going to be this guy. It's when he hits, you can choose a rear guard on the opponent's field, retire it. And then the last one is just a placeholder. So for now, I am keeping Mustafa in here. I may just take him out. But otherwise, it would be like 4 Root Flare. I recommend Root Flare over the Ace just because it's a lot easier to pull off that play 2 times as opposed to trying to pull up the Ace more than once per game. So that's basically my updated Overlord deck. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. And what's your take on the Rebirth in here? I think it's okay. It makes the deck certainly more unique compared to the generic stuff of the Great and these other guys. But it's nice seeing the End again in tournament play. I mean, not a lot of people used to play him. Like, probably, I don't know, this time last year. He wasn't really seen a lot. But anyway, yeah, this is my Overlord deck. It features all the Overlords except for the original, the Break Ride, and the Great. So, hope you guys enjoyed that video, and as always, stay tuned for more Cardfight Vanguard videos, and don't forget to subscribe. Thanks.